For those that don't know, my name is Luke, this is James to my right and Michael further right. So we will be 3 of the 5 riders that will be taking on a challenge that we'll find out if we've got over our heads or not in a few weeks. And I suppose as the 3 of us here, we're really looking forward to doing it, and also I suppose hosting an event like this, it's also very nice to have a lot of support from the community, and I have met also a lot of people tonight alone who have come up and said hello, gave us our well wishes, and also called us crazy a number of times as well. But thank you all the same for being here. If you can, I want to direct your attention just to the screen to the right. We were going to have a guest speaker named Ben Kerslake. For those of you that are unfamiliar with Ben, he's a cancer survivor and has a really amazing story. He was unable to come tonight. He works vintage in Clare, and to the credit of the man, he was actually willing to drive today, do a 5-minute speech and drive home to go and do vintage, but unfortunately his boss has required him to be at work for last night, tonight, Saturday and Sunday. But I thought it was worthwhile just probably giving a minute and a half overview of Ben, because he does have one of the more amazing stories you'll probably ever hear. And for those that know Ben, he's also probably one of the most outstanding people you ever meet in your life, and one of those people that you certainly aim to aspire to one day. So Ben came into our lives through the Ross Trevor Old Collegians Football Club as a 31-year-old senior player. Spent a little bit of time with him and straight away found a real love for the type of person he was, and I suppose his values as a human. About 12 months later, Ben was diagnosed with significant forms of cancer, and he had a most significant golf ball-sized tumour in the left side of his brain. So if you can see over there, that's a reverse photo. He had probably half of his head cut open, and us obviously being quite close to him, that really rocked us to the core. Straight after surgery, he went through his recovery and assumed he was out of the woods. Unfortunately, about a month later, he had to go back and do his, I suppose, oncology, and they told him that not only had the successful surgery been removed, but they found some more, and he'd actually been diagnosed with stage 4 metastasis, which carries a 3 to 6 month life expectancy at a maximum. So he, as a 32-year-old with a partner and 2 kids of his own, I think 3 through his own new relationship, had to pretty much get his life affairs in order in terms of life insurance, his will, and was pretty much told you won't make the end of the year. Fast forward 9 years now, he's probably one of the bravest cancer survivors you'll run into. He's running a lot through his own Kerslake Foundation, does a lot of work in the community, and most importantly is happy and healthy. So Ben's reached out to us a couple of times over the journey to do, he was going to do a kayak of the river a couple of years ago, which I was really keen to do. Unfortunately, got cancelled with COVID, which would have been a pretty special event, but he is doing a lot of amazing things with cancer specifically. And I think had we have had the opportunity to listen to him tonight, you would have loved hearing his story, but I wanted to acknowledge it all the same because it is quite an amazing one, and I do hope that we can have him tell his story in a larger capacity at some point in the future. Just moving forward, I think just 3 of us, we just want to give a really brief overview of the ride. We're 3 pretty average people, and same as Anthony and Geordie, but we do have a connection to cancer. Lots of us have had family members affected by it, and people we know as well, and we probably just wanted to do something a little bit more substantial to make a difference in some way. We know this is quite a little thing, and I know that in reality the ride itself is physically challenging, but it's something that I think most people can gear themselves up to do. But we wanted to do it because it's something small, and in this space the small things are those that really count. It's sometimes not the massive efforts and the massive things that make a difference, it's all those small things. And I'm sure those that have had family members go through cancer-related illnesses, you'll notice that the true times that they're really happy throughout their battles is not necessarily when you do large acts for them. It's the tiny things, such as being there, turning up, and just holding their hand if they need some support in any way possible. So hopefully if we can help a young kid in a cancer ward, or a 16-year-old male, or a 80-year-old lady who gets cancer, and Cancer Council to give them a day of care or some support, for us, I think that's a massive win, and obviously that comes with support of you two as well. So we wanted to thank you all for that. There's a lot of sponsors I just wanted to acknowledge. I'll try to get through them all here. Again, really central to our community, which we really appreciate. We've had 2 major sponsors in Perks and JBS&G. We've had some corporate sponsors in Beltrami Civil, Big Time Marketing, Bridge Urban, Glimpse Oz, Hey Diddle Wines, Kinetic, Maveco, Moyes Media, North Point Toyota, O'Malley Outdoor Creations, Owens Casserly, Ross Trevor College and the Bath Hotel. And we just briefly wanted to acknowledge Moyes Media, the efforts of Jay, who's doing our photography at the moment. He's going to give up a week of his time on the ride, which is really amazing, and we really do appreciate your help, Jay. It's a big role you've got, mate. So he's also going to try to make sure we don't end up squashed pancakes on the Hume Highway by sitting behind us in a support car as well. But it's not an easy role, and I think most people would certainly not expect the amount that you're giving us over the week, and obviously tonight as well. So we really do thank you for that, mate. Just lastly as well, everyone in the room, thank you for coming. Thank you for your donations. But I guess most impressively, we've been really humbled by just the time, the resources, the advice we've been getting, people putting us into contact with someone or another to say, this person's done the ride, this person might be able to help you out with a media outlet, this person might be able to give you some gels or bars or whatever it may be, and it really does make a difference, and is quite, I suppose for me, it's a really powerful thing the community gives us when we actually have people who aren't necessarily close in our lives, but they come from every different pocket and are just willing to help out in any way, shape or form. So while we can't acknowledge everyone here tonight in the way we probably should, do know that everything you've done from day one to the day that we leave for the ride has been really much appreciated by not only us three, but Geordie and Gooch as well.